Why traffic happens with no accident. You're driving down the motorway, traffic is moving normally, then suddenly, brake lights appear ahead. Cars begin slowing. Within seconds, you're crawling forward, almost at a complete stop. Naturally, you assume something must have happened. Maybe an accident, maybe roadworks, maybe a broken down vehicle. But then, a few minutes later, traffic suddenly clears. The road opens up, cars accelerate, and everything returns to normal. But there's one strange detail. There was nothing there, no crash, no construction, no visible cause at all. So what actually stopped the traffic? It turns out many traffic jams don't need accidents. In fact, some of the worst traffic jams are caused by something incredibly small, something almost every driver does without realizing it. Reaction time. To understand how this happens, we need to look at something simple, human reaction time. When the car in front of you slows down, your brain doesn't react instantly. On average, it takes about 1 second for a driver to notice brake lights and press the brake pedal. That might not sound like much, but on a busy motorway, 1 second is enough to trigger a chain reaction. Imagine 3 cars driving in a line. Car A taps the brakes slightly. Car B sees the brake lights and reacts 1 second later. Because of that delay, Car B has to brake a little harder to maintain distance. Now Car C sees Car B's brake lights, another delay, another slightly stronger brake. By the time the reaction reaches the 10th or 20th car, drivers may be forced to slow down dramatically, sometimes almost to a complete stop. And here's the strange part. The driver who has started the slowdown may already be driving normally again, but the braking reaction continues moving backward through traffic, like a ripple spreading across water. Traffic waves. Scientists have a name for this phenomenon. It's called a phantom traffic jam, because the jam appears without any visible cause, no accident, no obstacle, no road closure. Just a wave of slowing vehicles moving backward through traffic. Researchers studying traffic flow have recreated this effect in experiments. In one experiment, drivers were asked to drive in a circle at a steady speed. No one was supposed to slow down, but after a few minutes, something surprising happened. Even though nobody deliberately braked, traffic waves started forming. Cars began bunching together, then slowing, then speeding up again, all because small changes in speed gradually amplified as they passed from driver to driver. One small tap of the brakes could eventually create a full stop several hundred meters behind. And once these waves begin, they can travel backward through traffic for miles, even though the road ahead is completely clear. The ripple effect. Now imagine this happening on a real motorway during rush hour. Cars are already packed closely together. Drivers are constantly adjusting their speed. Now one driver briefly taps the brakes. Maybe they look at their phone. Maybe they get distracted. Maybe they simply slow down slightly. That tiny slowdown spreads backward. Driver after driver reacts slightly later. Each reaction is slightly stronger than the one before. Within seconds, a tiny change becomes a full traffic jam, and drivers far behind the original slowdown have no idea what caused it. From their perspective, traffic simply stops for no reason at all. Then suddenly, it clears again, which is why phantom traffic jams often feel so mysterious. They appear out of nowhere and disappear just as strangely. And before we look at why these traffic waves happen even more often today, if you're enjoying the video, consider subscribing for more videos explaining the strange systems behind everyday life. why it happens more today. Phantom traffic jams have always existed, but they happen far more often today, and there are several reasons why. First, there are simply more cars on the road than ever before. When traffic density increases, small speed changes spread more easily through the system. Second, many drivers follow too closely. When vehicles are packed tightly together, even small braking events force stronger reactions behind them. Third, distraction has become a major factor. Phones, navigation systems, and other devices mean drivers sometimes react slower than they should. And finally, modern traffic is often stop and go. Frequent acceleration and braking make traffic flow less stable, which makes these traffic waves easier to trigger. But here's the interesting part. There may already be a technology on the road that can reduce phantom traffic jams. Future solution: adaptive cruise control, and eventually self-driving cars. These systems react faster and more smoothly than human drivers. They maintain consistent spacing, and they avoid sudden braking. In fact, some simulations suggest that if only a small percentage of cars used these systems, traffic waves could almost disappear. But for now, human reaction time still dominates how traffic behaves. Conclusion: so the next time you're stuck in traffic and there's no accident ahead, no roadworks, no visible reason for the slowdown, the cause might not be the road, it might not be construction, and it might not even be a single bad driver. Instead, it could simply be the invisible ripple of human reaction time moving backward through traffic, a tiny slowdown, passed from driver to driver, amplified again and again, until it becomes a traffic jam that seems to appear out of nowhere.